who we are. So, obviously, Bermuda Martial Arts, we're a jiu-jitsu gym based in Syston. I'm the head coach, Liam Corrigan, and this is one of my associates, shall I call you? What are you anyway? What's your position?
You say student, but I don't learn too clever. I don't pick up things too well. So,
are you a coach now as well?
I suppose I am while you're off, yeah. Unfortunately for you and the people that have been attending the classes. But yeah, I suppose I do try and pick up the slack when you aren't there, don't I? Yeah. You've got Brad down there as well and Ranj, but we kind of all slot together, don't we? Yeah. So pick up the pieces when you're not there, which isn't often.
Yeah.
But
how are you finding the coaching?
I like it. I do like it, and it gives you a complete different aspect on everything, like I've said before. So you can be teaching stuff and you're looking around and there's people really taking it in, and then you can look around at other people and, you know, they may as well have headphones on, for example. And that's frustrating. But, you know, when you step back and you put them into positional sparring and things like that, and you do see them attempting the stuff that you have just learned, it is quite a nice feeling. I've got to admit, I do enjoy that side of it. And then, you know, you'll look off in a different direction and someone's berimoloing. Or, you know, we've been teaching cross collars or something, straight ankle lock or guard passing, and then you've got someone inverting down the other end of the gym, and you've kind of got to let that bit go a bit. But
I've got an idea who you're probably talking about. I won't say any names here, though.
Not all the time, but yeah.
So you feel my pain a little bit then?
Yeah.
And the pleasure. You feel the pain and the pleasure.
Yeah, I think it'd make me a better student now teaching a little bit, because when I look around and they are doing what you've asked or what you've shown them, and they're doing a good job of it as well, it does give you a bit of a, nice one. Yeah, I don't really even care when they mess it up. You know, if they're going for it, as long as they're not like taking it personal, if they're getting tapped out and because they're trying something new, they're going out of position and they're getting tapped out, and, you know, they could be getting grumpy about it, so they just go back to where they're comfortable. I prefer it if they stick with it and keep getting tapped out. Yeah. And I like that. So I think because I've liked seeing it in students I've been teaching, I think it's probably something that I'll try and adapt to more rather than sitting guard. Sitting guard and not wrestling. But yeah, I definitely feel your pain.
I mean, look, there's a lot of good things about being a coach. And there's a lot of hard things about being a coach as well. But definitely the good stuff outweighs the negative stuff for sure. I mean, especially when you're teaching kids as well.
Yeah.
Like the kids' classes can be so hard at times.
I can only imagine on the kids' classes. Oh yeah,
I mean, it's like adults is tricky, but then the kids is almost like amplified.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, you'll get, like, an adult might not listen, but eventually you can get them to like catch on a little bit.
Yeah.
But a kid, they might just not want to listen at all. Do you know what I mean? And then you almost just chasing them around the room. Like I was telling that story before we started earlier about my daughter going swimming. Do you know what I mean? Just talking before about, you know, my daughter going to her first over 3 swimming class and just screaming the whole way through it. And I really felt the instructor's pain. Do you know what I mean? I've been there. I mean, I've literally been there as well. We had a kid just before Christmas. Every time his mum and dad brought him down, he would just scream on the side of the class. And they'd say, look, come and get him. So I'd have to pick him up onto the class, and then he'd just stand there screaming while the other kids are break falling. That's got to be
the big difference, though, isn't it? You know, if an adult's there because they want to be there. A lot of the time, a kid's there because the parents want them to, you know, they're either being bullied or having a hard time at school. And you can't drill into them enough that this sort of thing is going to benefit you massively when you become an adult. Yeah. And you know for well, if they quit after 6 months, when they are 16, 17, they'll look back and wish that I carried it on, because we've 100%. All done something like that, haven't we, you know? I started boxing when I was tiny. I knocked it on the head. I didn't like it. I think I took a beating off somebody, and it was one of them where, like, didn't like this, I'll go back football. And then I got into it again at like 30 or something like that. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, I wish I hadn't packed it in back then. Yeah. But like we say about the adults, the only ones where their mind wanders really is when they think they already know it, if you know what I mean. And so you'll show them a technique and it's like, meh, I already know this. Yeah. But then I look around and they're making a right hash of it. Yeah. Yet a kid just might not want to be there in the first place anyway. So
yeah, that's one of the biggest differences with the adults as well, is that adults come, like you say, maybe they're 30 years old or something. They've already found their little way of learning something, and maybe they're an expert at, I don't know, some other field in their life.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get a kid, 5, 6 years old, they're not good at anything really. Do you know what I mean? They're learning everything still for the first time. So they're basically just like a fresh slate. Do you know what I mean?
But do you like that? Do you like the fact that they're a blank canvas and you can, if they're willing, sort of mould them into like an excellent jiu-jitsu practitioner, really, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, the good. I think from a competitive point of view, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think if you're taking someone who you want to do really well in competition, if you take a kid who's, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, and you get them competing early enough to the point where they're not bothered about competing.
Yeah.
A lot of kids, they're absolutely fearless.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember being a kid and being fearless. And the older you get, the more scared you get about life.
Course.
Do you know what I mean? You get pushed
Cautious.
and pushed more and more into a little box. So I think sometimes, like I've had adults compete that are so worried about getting injured that they just can't let go and actually do what it is they're trying to do. You know what I mean? Whereas kids, that you look at them and they're trying to powerbomb each other out the window or something.
This is why it's so entertaining at competition. You go there and like the last competition I went to, and I was cornering Wayne, and there was a black belt. There was only 2 of them entered, and there was clearly, in the Masters 1 or 2. And it was literally just push, pull guard, stall, stalling at a high level, don't get me wrong, but it was just massive hand fighting. There was nothing for anyone that didn't really understand what was going on to watch there. But then you look at a different competition and you get there half an hour early and you see the kids going at it and you think, Jesus Christ, these are doing flying arm bars and all sorts of things. And we can do flying arm bars, but there's no way I'm going to jump up there at the risk of someone just pulling their arm out and then dropping in front of you.
This is the thing as well. Like you take an adult and you show them I wouldn't say it's a complicated move, but it's more of a high risk move, like a flying arm bar, flying submission of any sort. And they're going to take one look at it, and straight away they'll decide if they can do it or not.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll see them either not want to do it at all, or they'll have a go at it, and it'll be so kind of half-assed that they can't actually complete the move because they don't really believe they can. Yeah. Whereas a kid, you'll say, look, this is the move. The first thing they'll do is they'll go, oh my God, that looks amazing. I want to go. Do you know what I mean? So then they'll do the move, they'll fly into it, and then it's easy for them to kind of, handle the thought process behind learning something that's high risk or much more difficult, I guess.
I think if some of they say this about teaching kids anything, don't they? Like a new language or anything like that, kids supposedly pick it up a lot faster than adults do. I know when I was trying to learn bits and bobs of Spanish and Hungarian and things like that, I just couldn't get it. It just didn't add up to me, where they had all sorts of things dropping into it, but it just didn't make any kind of sense. But when someone's a blank canvas, you can just mould them to any particular way you want. But ultimately, they've kind of got to want to learn, haven't they?
Yeah, this is the thing. And this is why I think probably you look at 50% of the kids as not lost causes, but it's going to be difficult to get as much out of them.
Yeah.
The other half of the kids, they'll listen to what you say, and you can get them performing moves to a level where they can use them as like self-defense or going into competition. And the other half of the kids, they'll still pick stuff up.
Yeah.
They will learn stuff still, but I've seen it a lot with the in-house competitions that we've done this year. And
the kids look brilliant on that.
Yeah, I mean,
the kids look so good.
But some of them that aren't that technical are the ones that have done better.
Oh, okay.
Because they're just willing to give it a bash. They're not, like I said, they're fearless. They have a crack at it. Whereas you've got kids that look a lot technically better.
Yeah.
Not interested. Don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the jiu-jitsu that we do, it's not just for competing. And this is one of the things I wanted to touch on, was just the kind of self-defense side of it all, and why it's so important for the kids as well.
Well, yeah, definitely.
I know you had your nephew came down and trained for a little while.
Yeah.
I know he didn't train for long, but I'm pretty sure you were trying to keep him.
I was trying to keep him as keen as possible. I mean, he tried a few different bits. He liked the boxing side of it as well. When you're doing the striking with the kids, I think he really enjoyed that. With jiu-jitsu, he loved it afterwards, but I think the idea of it when he was first going there was quite daunting. But when he realised it was a lot of back and forth and games where they don't actually realise that the training of martial art, the Google things and stuff, and it looks brutal on the internet because, you're seeing someone get slammed or you're seeing something bad happening. And he's watching like MMA for one. Yeah. And then when he gets down there and realises it's something completely different. And I think it'd have been completely different if it had gone down with a friend, where they walk into a situation, they don't know anyone, and these other kids have probably been training together 6 months or something. Or even if he doesn't know that, in his head, he probably thinks they all know each other and I don't know anyone. But once he started getting used to it, he loved it. They moved out Fleckney way now. He's got back into his football, which is a good thing. I think anything to get kids out and away from a computer screen has got to be a good 100%. Thing, surely.
100%. But I'm trying to push a lot of our socials now towards kids' self-defense, and not just the self-defense, but there's a couple of videos that I've got hold of recently of kids being bullied. There's one in particular that I was just shocked at. Not so much like the actual event unfolding, although sometimes it's never nice seeing a kid get hurt.
They're a hard
it was
watch.
More just like the kids' just lack of understanding of being in a fight. And so this is, I was going to touch on basically some of the advantages of kids doing martial arts. And the biggest one that I've thought about over the last few years, and we do talk about, just the self-defense aspect of it and the technical aspect, but I think the confidence is the biggest thing.
I think
I've everything. I've all the benefits, and I've done videos recently on, the top 3 benefits, top 5 benefits, stuff like that. But I just think the confidence is massive. And in this video that I was, I've just put on my YouTube today, actually, like a breakdown of it. Well, I think YouTube's tried to ban it or something. It's got no views yet, so I need to try and work out what's happened with that, why that's not worked out. But basically in this video, it's just one kid punching the other kid. And the other kid's literally put his hands over his eyes and is not even looking at the kid.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he's accepted being beat up. And like I say, from a confidence point of view, if you have been in a fight before, and I'm not saying a street fight, but if you've been in the gym and had these grappling wars with your mates, and it's kind of fun in games, like when you're getting pushed around in the schoolyard and people are physically picking on you, punching you, whatever, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that confidence, if you can just like behave like you know what you're doing, even if you're not 100% sure, even if you're a little bit nervous, thinking, I might get beat up here, at least if you show some kind of confidence that, I'm willing to fight, I know how to fight, probably you don't get picked on so much. Because the big thing I noticed in it was the kid who was doing the punching, the more he punched the kid and the more the kid looked away and kind of took on a fetal position.
Fueled him almost.
Yeah, the more he kind of energized off it and kept moving forward and punched him more.
Is the main thing. The confidence is the main thing.
Yeah, mate,
a lot of the time, if you see, I'm guilty of this a little bit, but when you see a crowd of like youths or people that look like they're out there just causing trouble, they might not be, but they're probably drinking in the streets or something like that. Instead of crossing a road and like, oh God, I'm avoiding that situation, I'm not advising this, at all, but I'd literally walk straight through. Excuse me, lads, and I don't know whether they either think this guy's got a screw loose or, he can obviously look after himself because he's not intimidated by us or anything like that. And, that's not advised, but at the same time, it's a nice feeling to think that, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the same with adults as well. I think when you're an adult and you do martial arts, a lot of the time you get into it for that self-defense aspect or the fitness aspect to it. But what you don't realise is after years of training, you just become a different person. I mean, I've been there myself on my journey, many years ago before I started. Never had confidence of winning fights. I mean, I was in fights at school, but when you actually stop someone and say, look, you're about to have a fight now, it's a totally different thing to all of a sudden you're fighting. Do you know what I mean? In the middle of it. Like when you say to someone, right, you're going to fight that guy over there.
Yeah. Oh, well, you only
know
from competition, don't you? You look around, you think, oh, he's the next guy I've got. In the next round, I'm fighting. Unlogically as well, you'll be standing there in the warm-up area or the bullpen, shaking it off, and then you'll look around, you'll find someone that's clearly 3-4 weight divisions above you, and you think, I bet I've got him next. There's no way on this planet you've got that guy next. Yeah. But you do that.
Yeah, but like I say, when you've got confidence where you've been there before, I think definitely when it comes to looking at the general public, when you're walking around and you think, I wonder if guy can fight, I wonder if that guy can fight, chances are, 98% of the time, they probably can't.
No, that's
so
it.
if you've been training martial arts, not all martial arts, obviously, but there's certain martial arts that, I feel are probably stronger than others.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you're doing one of the grappling martial arts especially, and someone's never done grappling in their life, it's a bad day at the office for them, for sure.
Oh, yeah, massively. So you've only got to compare it to when, we got the beginners classes now, so all the beginners can kind of stay together. But I dropped in on a beginners class about a month or so ago, didn't I, to help that lad out who was a bit shy. And, all these guys, they do still look intimidating guys, don't they? But obviously they don't know that I'm a brown belt or anything. I'm just running around doing the warm-ups with them and everything like that. But then when it comes to like a bit of a spar, a bit of a play at the end, it is like playing with a child without trying to be offensive to them. It is like having a play around with a child because they don't know just the simple concepts of underhooks or hand fighting. Yeah. And that is literally going to transpire to a street fight.
Yeah.
You have got the danger of them carrying weapons and all the rest of it, but you're better off knowing these martial arts and not needing them.
Exactly. So that's one of the biggest things I tell the beginners is that you learn all this stuff. Obviously, you're not going to go out there getting into street fights with random crackheads that, like you say, could be carrying knives or anything like that. But there's no martial art that's going to help you win a knife fight.
Absolutely nips that in the bud as well. It isn't. I don't feel it's a martial art that you learn and then you want to go and bully people with. Yeah. I'm not saying there is a martial art like that, but you do find a lot of boxers can be quite, meat-headed and stuff like that. But with this, I think it's so humbling. I mean, I probably started doing jiu-jitsu thinking I'm tougher than I am. Do you get what I mean? I walked in thinking I was a lot tougher than I am. And then after training it for, 8-9 years now, something like that, I don't believe I'm anywhere near as tough as I thought I was when I first walked in that gym because I've been humbled that many times by that many different people that my level's gone through the roof compared to when I walked into the gym. But not my confidence, but literally my awareness that it's like, actually, you don't know anything. Yeah. That's been heightened. So.
Yeah, it's a good point for sure. And that word you use as well, like the awareness of it as well. You get a lot of people that will gladly get, especially men we're talking about, will gladly get into fights thinking that they know how to fight, but they've never trained a day in their life.
Have you had many of them conversations with people where they're like, look, the old I just see red?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty common meme, ain't it, you see about it.
Yeah. The amount of people that tell you, it's like, I've never trained, but I know I can look after myself. It's like, do you? Do you know?
Yeah. You don't know until you've been in those positions. And that's where I'm saying the confidence comes from, whether you're a kid doing the kids class or an adult, doing a beginner's class or even the advanced classes. That's where the confidence comes from. You've been there a million times. You've been there with someone sat on your chest. And, at the minute we're talking about jiu-jitsu, but, back when I was training a lot of MMA, like same kind of thing. You start in these positions.
Yes.
So let's say you're the best guy fighting in your gym and you beat everyone up, maybe you never get in these bad positions. And then one day when you do, you're not going to know what to do there. No. But you train these things, you put yourself in bad positions, you're getting beat up in bad positions. Mm-hmm. What's the worst that happens outside of that? You've already been through the worst, really.
Against other trained fighters
Exactly,
as well.
Against trained fighters. So, even if you start in the worst position ever against, someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And in fact, we've been talking recently, haven't we, about the... like maybe doing some kind of fundraiser and having, some of the rugby guys coming into the club and, one of us pinning them and seeing if they can escape, giving them 30 seconds to escape or something like that.
Yeah, because it's the old, I'd just stand up.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I tried to stand up. It doesn't work like that. It's not as easy as that. It's a horrible situation to be in when someone knows what they're doing.
The thing is, when you're trained as well and you're underneath someone who knows what they're doing pinning you, the last thing you'll think about is just standing up. Mm-hmm. You're thinking about how do I get the shoulder out of my neck or out my eye socket. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? How to get the knee out of my stomach. You think about these horrible things that are going on.
You also calculate more risks. I've found the more I learn or the more you show me and stuff like that, the more I feel in danger because you pick up that technique and it's like, well, I better not put my arm there or I better not do this because I know he knows this or anything else like that. Yeah. So it is that Dunning-Kruger effect, isn't it? When the more you know, the more you realise you don't know. Yeah. So sometimes ignorance is bliss. Yeah. But another good thing about the confidence for not just the kids but for the adults is if you look through our gym, there's so
I know
many
you
different...
smiled there when you said
Yeah,
it.
because there's so many different walks of life, isn't there? There's
Yeah.
no way the majority of them people would have met in any other circumstance than a martial arts gym, and not just any martial arts gym, a jiu-jitsu gym, because it kind of appeals to everybody. It sort of filters out meatheads and people that, well, we've had it before, haven't we? We've had people come down that haven't been very, very nice or, you know, fit in at the gym in terms of they're all about themselves and they're probably a bit bullyish, and they don't last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't go very far. And then you've got people, you know, from all walks of life. There's a lot of IT workers and really quiet, timid people that still turn up, get involved, and you know, even jump in on a lot of the banter that goes on, don't they?
Yeah.
They get really involved, so it's good.
To be honest with you, that's one of the things I love about our gym is that there's a lot of people that come and train that I would never meet outside.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm probably not the most extroverted person anyway in terms of meeting people. I'm pretty much an introvert, I would say. So fortunately, like doing jiu-jitsu and running the gym, a lot of these people flock to the gym, and they are all different. They're all into different things, different hobbies, and then you find these things out about people. And there's loads of interesting people you just wouldn't meet outside of the gym. So, and it's not like a gym where, like I say, a weights gym where you might go there. And again, I'm just thinking of my own experience being more introverted, of going to the gym, doing your workout, leaving. You've probably not said anything other than hi and bye to whoever's, you know, on the desk. And I'm sure a lot of people are the same like that. When they go to the gym, they work out. It's not really a group activity unless you're going with a friend or whatever. Whereas when you come to like a club like ours, everyone's in one small room. We're all training, doing the same thing at the same time.
It's pretty personal, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes you're going to get, you know, if you've not got a training partner that you usually go with, you're going to go with someone who's totally new, and you're forced to do that. And it's obviously awkward at first, and you know, you start off asking someone, what's your name? What do you do outside of training?
You'd never meet them. You'd never meet them. I think before that, even doing the little bits of boxing, the only people I ever sort of hung around with or spent any time with was the people I grew up with going to school, my football friends that I'm still friends with now, but they were the same people that I went to school with. They've kind of transitioned naturally as you do into golf. So,
got bellies as well.
You what, sorry?
Everyone's got a belly as well.
Everyone's got a belly, yeah.
Talking about the old days playing football, the knee injuries.
Yeah. They've developed dad bodies and all the rest of it. But I'd have never moved out of that circle without this. And it was purely by chance that I got into it as well. And when it was first explained to me, I was skeptical. And then, again, like I said, I had the confidence. It's like when it was explained what it was all about, I says, come on then, I'll give it a go. And I did think I'd do a lot better than I actually did on that first class. And I was just toyed with. Yeah. And I thought, oh my God, I know nothing.
Yeah.
So
and that's why if you have an ego, you just don't last.
Yeah, precisely.
Do you know what I mean? If you've got a big ego and you come to the gym expecting straight away to be the top dog, nah, you got a few years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't care who you are, you're going to have a few years.
You also see the people come in that are a bit nervous and a bit skeptical of doing it, and then they roll with the higher ranked people or the better people in the gym. And they kind of avoid the better people at first, and they stick down, with the white belts and the newcomers, and then they realise, down there's savage. You're better off going and rolling with the better people.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you
get less elbows in the face.
Well, I don't know. There's a few higher ranks that have flailing limbs, should we say. But they kind of avoid the purples and browns and black belts and things like that because they think, this is going to be savage. But after they've rolled with the higher ranks, and they think, this is a lot nicer and a lot more pleasant than rolling down there with the newcomers who feel like they've got something to prove almost.
Yeah, that's true.
Where everyone else goes a bit easier or kind of matches energy or shows people, or, you'll put someone in a situation and then you'll wait. You won't start doing stuff to them. It's like, that, I'm giving you an out here. Let's see if you pick it up and run with it. So it helps their progression. Plus, it doesn't prove anything, does it? When a newcomer comes down and the higher ranks, you soon get put in your place. If someone started running through newcomers or white belts, it'd quickly get picked up in the gym and, nipped in the bud. But luckily, where we train, it's not really like that, is it? We've never really had anyone like that that's tried to prove anything or show off against.
There's been a couple on the beginners classes that I can think of.
Oh, okay.
Ever since we've run the beginners class, because we used to run it as a course, So it'd be a 6-week course, and then
What did you do? Just try and squeeze in fundamentals on each week?
Yeah, basically. So pretty much how I do it with the beginners
Mm-hmm.
class now, but we just run it as a 6-week course. But then the trouble is, what would happen is, let's say if I was running it on a Saturday morning, I'd say, okay, now it's time to kind of go into the other classes which are in the week, and then people would be like, oh, well, I can't make the week.
Oh, okay.
So you just wouldn't be able to get people to move actually into to doing the normal classes. So we run the beginners class now every Monday at 7:30. And that just runs every single week, and it gives people the opportunity now to dip in and out of doing the beginners maybe for a couple of months, moving up, seeing how you get on. If it's no good, move back again. So I mean, you can move in and out. So now we've got that class that's constantly running. I have seen one or two meatheads, if you like, that have come down. You know, they go to the gym or whatever. The big, strong guys, gritting their teeth, holding the breath, not really making much progress. Do you know what I mean?
But
you
quite
watch
happy
them roll, but
to
they're
go
not really
away with a
doing
little
lot.
win against someone that's just worked his 9
maybe,
till 5.
Yeah, maybe, but I think a lot of the time they go away frustrated that it's not what they thought it was going to be. It's not going to be an ego stroke.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You just basically got to put yourself in a position to be the nail. I've always said to all the beginners, you've got to come down with that mindset that you're going to be the nail for 12 months. Yeah. And that's not in a bad way. No. You're not going to get hurt for 12 months or anything like that. You're going to come down, you're going to do a lot of learning. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? There's no real winning or losing in the training anyway, but you're going to do a lot of learning. And after 12 months, there'll be a load of new people that will come in. Yeah. And your level's gone up to here now, so you're no longer at the bottom, you're up to here. Yeah, and slowly but surely, you work up the ladder. Yeah. I've always said about the high tide raises all ships. Yes. So the more people you get coming in, the more you start boosting the levels up, the level goes around for everyone else, and it pushes everyone who's above that up as well.
It's got to be the way. There's literally no shortcut in getting better. It's not so much a rite of passage, but they're taking their licks early on, and some people get buzzing from it because they've probably gone there with that much. I don't know. They're a bit apprehensive that this is going to be horrible. I'm going to get beat up. I'm this because it is a different martial arts to karate where people are just standing there going to be doing katas and probably a little bit of semi-contact sparring. There is sparring, which does, well, it makes it a legitimate martial art, doesn't it? And it puts it to the test properly.
Yeah. I think one of the things it does, it takes away a lot of the delusion in martial arts. I think with, I'm not going to go into different martial arts too much because I don't want to shit on any other martial arts, but there's some martial arts where there's less sparring and you can be delusional into thinking that the things that you're doing are just going to work on whoever you imagine in front of you, whether it's a 7-foot guy, an animal. Do you know what I mean? Could I take on a gorilla? Confidence. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have this delusion that you think, well, I'm doing the move, I'm doing it to the best of the ability that I can do it, that the instructors showed me to do it. Yeah. What more is there to do? There's no other levels after this. But when you're doing sparring like we're doing on our jiu-jitsu classes, and you're sparring against different guys, different weights, heights, all the rest of it, you might have a move that works on the majority of people, and then it doesn't work on everyone. Yeah. And now you've either got to accept that, okay, that's not the move for me, I've got to change my approach here, or you take your technique, you make it better, you make it work on everyone, and that's a big part of the journey in jiu-jitsu.
And it is literally a journey, isn't it? Because it's there's no shortcut. It's not like you can all of a sudden discover a YouTube video and think, I've cracked this. Mm-hmm. You might get little tweaks here and there that you can add into your game, but when people start up and you say, you've got to accept 12 months of being the nail, that's something we've all had.
Yeah, and you should want that as well. You want to be like I think what people don't understand is you go there to learn, especially if you're going there for a self-defense purpose, you're going there to learn how to get out of bad positions. So if you're only going there and beating people up, you're not actually learning anything. Like I say, you're just stroking your own ego. You're not learning anything at all. You want to go there. You want to be in bad positions. That's usually what you've probably started a martial art for, is for that reason, to learn how to get out of bad positions. After that, anything after that is going to be a bonus. And like I say, give it the first 12 months. And after that, hopefully you start becoming the hammer a bit more and you get to work a bit more on attacking techniques. But again, it's about learning.